Golisopod and Oricorio are two of the best Gen 7 Pokemon in Elite Redux, which is honestly a refreshing 180 since they were trash in the real games. They lacked power and utility and were honestly forgotten about, but with their upgrades in this game, they have the potential to sweep entire teams. So naturally, the next step is to give them Mega Evolutions, of course, taking the power of these underrated beasts to new heights. So what are their stats, what are their new abilities, and what make these new Mega Evolutions so busted? Golisopod was one of my favorite Pokemon to use in Elite Redux, but after the nerfs of update version 2.5 removed not only its Coward ability, its coverage moves, and Swords Dance, they left Golisopod as a less than valuable option. That is, until it gets access to its brand new Mega form, bringing back some of its great power. Retaining its Bug Water typing, Mega Golisopod's stat total now sits at 630. Its incredibly high attack now increased to 155, which is more than enough for even tanky Pokemon. 100 in special defense, while its defense sits at 140, and an increase to its speed, bringing it to 60. It's still slow, but you always appreciate the boost. And speaking of boosts, its brand new signature ability can bring its total power to insane heights. The ability No Turning Back will give every stat a +1 boost when it drops below half HP. The only downside is it can no longer be swapped out. It's essentially just the move No Retreat, but as an ability. This is super scary because now it potentially has the speed to move first and has absurd amounts of power. It was already bulky, but it's even harder to remove. Leech Life can be used to get back a solid amount of health and keep it around longer. It can't be activated twice, however. If its speed isn't enough, it still has strong priority moves like Aqua Jet or Sucker Punch. First Impression is still a great move to run, especially with its guaranteed flinch. If you still don't think it has enough power, it basically has a free Life Orb built into its hands since it has Tough Claws, boosting all contact moves by 30%. Razor Shell with its high crit ratio or Waterfall with its flinch chance are great moves to run. Insect Impact can even lower defense. Secret Power also gets the Tough Claws boost, acting as a physical hidden power. I mean, it all sounds nice, but how consistently can it really get the boost from its abilities? Well, one really great safety net it has is the ability Sturdy, keeping it safe from one-hit KOs and guaranteeing the boost. Honestly, with its bulk, it won't be in much danger of that anyway, but it can set up moves like Sharpen. Crits aren't really something it has to worry about since it has Shell Armor, which also lessens the damage of all moves by 20%. After an Iron Defense, an Omni Boost, and recovery from Leech Life, physical attackers will have difficulty removing it. It's not a completely broken Pokemon, and getting locked into a fight can be really scary, especially if they have strong counters in the back. If it has enough speed though, it can easily be the MVP of a fight. Oricorio was easily one of the most overlooked Pokemon in Elite Redux. It might not seem that way just from looking at its stats, but trust me, it had plenty of tools to be so dangerous. None of which were removed and in fact were added to its more powerful Mega Evolution. Mega Oricorio and its stats are nuts. 138 in special attack lets it hit very hard, while its 133 in speed is faster than a large majority of the game. It has 90s in defense, not making it the most bulky Pokemon around, but that can be fixed. No stats were wasted by increasing its attack stat. It seems like a standard, fragile fast sweeper, but some of its abilities are what separate it from the others. Starting with one of its signature abilities, Two-Step. Two-Step will trigger a half-power Revelation Dance after using any dancing move. Moves like Revelation Dance itself or Fiery Dance can trigger this, adding a lot more power to these moves, picking up more KOs than it normally would, and getting through Pokemon that have Sturdy or Focus Sash. There wasn't a ton of dancing moves, so they've added a few more in this update, and they're really solid. Esper Waltz is a psychic version of Fiery Dance with a 50% chance to increase special attack, and that boost is applied to the extra Revelation Dance that Two-Step provides, so it can do even more damage. Hextrot, an 80 base power ghost dancing move, and Zap Jive, an electric type dance move, have a 50% chance to increase speed when used. This can be great when revenge killing a Pokemon, especially if the Pokemon in the back has enough speed to stop a sweep. It's also just great that it has so many coverage options. Even though they only have a 50% chance to activate, Mega Oricorio actually has Serene Grace as an innate, meaning these boosts are applied every time. I haven't even mentioned the best part of Two-Step yet, which is that it worked with status moves as well. more specifically Quiver Dance, which it does have access to, turning it into a move that boosts speed, special defense, and special attack, and has a 50 base power stab move attached. This is truly absurd. It easily has the power to knock out Pokemon, opening up easy sweeping opportunities. They also gave it Victory Dance, which is just a physical Quiver Dance. And it also has Aqua Step if you ever want to run a physical set for some reason. Its two other choice abilities are fine, but I feel like they're much better in doubles. Dancer will copy the dance moves of others, so it can be really nice paired with other Quiver Dance users. Prankster is nice for getting off a Feather Dance, weakening a physical attacker, setting up Tailwind, or setting Encore on a Pokemon setting up. Two-Step is really the best option. There's actually one other signature innate ability it gets, being Color Spectrum. Color Spectrum will grant stab moves 20% more power and will randomly change its type at the end of each turn. From a defensive standpoint, it can be really risky, but it can also bait out Pokemon that think they can take it out, but it ends up switching its type beforehand. Most importantly though, Revelation Dance will always be stab and do even more damage than usual. It's still a flying type at heart, as it has Aerialist, which is just Levitate and Flock combined, giving flying moves a great amount of power. Mega Oricorio is one of the most broken new megas introduced in 2.5 and can absolutely carry a playthrough. There might not be a better mega coming out of Alola. Both of these megas play very differently but are really strong in their own way. There are plenty of other new megas that bring life to weaker Pokemon in this update. Let me know which ones you'd like to see me cover next. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video for more breakdowns. Shout out to the MVPs, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.